Welcome back to the Adventure Athletes podcast. In this week's episode, we've got another returning guest in the form of Terry Rosoman, and it's his third time on the podcast, so he's now matched Jenks with the amount of times he's been on the podcast. It's great to have him back. We always have an amazing conversation, despite it taking me 2 hours to set up for the podcast pre-episode. So I sort of had a chat with him while I was doing that, and we went through loads of stuff pre-podcast, and we went through something completely different on the podcast. It's another amazing episode where we talk about challenges, mental resilience, and he gives so many actionable tips that you can take into your life. So this is a cracking episode. So enjoy the podcast. Yeah, I don't need to ask you what your call to adventure is, because it's not your first time on the podcast.
Oh, we've gone over that, yeah.
Yeah, we've done that. If you haven't listened to that one already, guys, then get back on it. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, go and see the others. Plenty of footage, yeah.
Yeah, but last time you came on was on the build-up to your challenge.
Yes,
So
it was, yeah. I think I announced it on your podcast, didn't I?
I think you did.
Yeah,
So that was the world's largest GPX cock and balls.
it was. It was.
How did that go, Terry?
It was horrendous. It was brutal. It was bleak. It was depressing. But I loved it. Yeah, and I did it, and I got it. And for a short period of time, I set the record for the world's largest GPS drawing of a cock and balls on foot in a single continuous effort. That's the official term. But unfortunately, it's been beaten.
It's been beaten. I did not know this.
It's been beaten twice since I've done it. Yeah. But what I'm really happy with is that my challenge directly inspired those people to go out and do it.
Really?
Yeah, so I was really
amazing.
happy. It wasn't like a coincidence they'd gone out. And that was one of the main drivers for me doing a challenge, was to hopefully inspire other people to go out and push their own limits and set their own goals and epic adventures. Yeah. And they went out and done it. Yeah, the first guy... Now, I've got quibbles about him. First guy did it, I think it was in Norway or Denmark. And he beat me by 2 miles. But his was all flat. It's all flat out there. So his was completely flat. He didn't have 10,000 feet of elevation, not like the big dog. And then literally about 2 weeks ago, it was beaten by a guy in America who did 115 miles. So mine was 72 miles. So he's really smashed it out of the park. But again, it was in America and it was completely flat. I'm not taking anything away from them. Or maybe I am. Maybe I'm a bit jealous. But yeah, it's been beaten twice since. But you never own records. Records are never yours. You only rent them. You only hold them for a certain amount of time. It's only sort of outliers that hold them for tens of decades of years and stuff. So I had it for a short period of time. For a short period, I was on top of the world. But, I'm happy to see it go. At least I was there for a point. I'm still proud of what I did. So, yeah.
I think there's certain times where records will stand forever. And that's if you're the first to do something. No one can take that away.
No.
And then if, like, it just made me think of, in the Olympics, there's certain records that now can't be beaten because the rules have changed.
Oh, is there?
So there used to be like a 80-meter race or something like that. And it's like, well, they don't do that anymore. So
no,
whoever's got that record, that's the lifetime record.
I don't even remember him ever doing 80 meters.
I've probably just made that one up. But like it's something like that where like there's been like a distance change or a rule change where it's like, well, now you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Because like it's a different set
Well, maybe
of rules.
that's what I need to do with mine. I need to say like mine. You have to have pubes or something like that, or a Jap's eye, and put these little things in. And if they haven't got that, then it's not a real cock and balls or something like that. Maybe
and
that's how
say that it has to specifically be done in Wales.
Yes, on my track, because I put it forward to the FKT. So after my challenge, I submitted the GPX to FKT. I said, look, I've got this great route. It's a bit of fun. It's a bit of a laugh. I thought it'd be good on your site so other people can go out and try and do it. And they told me to piss off, basically. They said, no, it's not for us. I think they're a bit more highbrow. They don't really want cock and balls all over their website. But there you go. Yeah,
I've been tempted to give it a go, like your route specifically.
Oh, you'd smash it. It's horrible.
Yeah,
honestly, it was so tough. tell you, so I did a lot of training, loads of training for it, and I think 2 weeks before I went out and did a recce, I just did the balls. I just went out and drew the balls. So it was 35 miles, but on the exact course that I was doing. And I felt prepared for it. Little did I know that when I actually did it, the first 22 miles of the challenge was all uphill. I hadn't realised that, because when you look at your little elevation map on Strava or whatever you're using, it's you get this little incline and you think, oh, that's fine. But when you're actually doing it, when you're on it and it's relentless and it just doesn't give up, that really messed me up. I got to the first checkpoint, because my first checkpoint was at 22 miles, and I was like, what have I done? What have I done? Have I got to still continue this? And it only got worse. There was so much elevation. I just wasn't prepared for that. We didn't see anyone either. For about 12, 18 hours, we didn't see anyone until we'd got off the mountains and sort of into the towns. It was that sort of barren land that no one goes to. It was rough and raw, and we got lost a few times, which was stressful. 'Cause you can't see anything. That's another thing. The first 12 hours was all in pitch black darkness, because we started at 5 p.m. just as the sun had gone down. Through design as well, because we knew it was going to be a 24-hour challenge, and the sun does sort of rejuvenate you when it comes out. I wanted that at the end of the challenge rather than at the start when I'm fresh. And I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah, so that's how bad it was. It was barren. It was horrible. It was brutal. But you just get to a point, I suppose, where you just got to get it out. You got to get it done. You got to get it done. It was cold as well. And that was one thing. I didn't record a lot, and I wish I had. I wish I'd documented it better, but I couldn't. I just wanted to get it over and done with. So it was just head down, march, and get it done.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got it done in the end. Yeah.
What do you think was your biggest learning points from it?
Learning.
Like, would you change any of your training? Would you have changed, like, your approach to going into it? Would you have, like, done more recce's? What, like, fundraising differences would you have done, like?
Not a lot. I tell you, what I learned was I sort of did it right. I did the right training, although maybe some more elevation could have been handy. But then I don't think you can't train for being at mile 60 and the wheels are falling off and you've got to grit your teeth and get through, because you can't do 60-mile training runs. You're going to wreck yourself. You can only do a certain amount. As I say, I only got up to 35. So I think the training was on point, maybe some more elevation, just sort of hill repeats or something like that. But in terms of nutrition, that worked. That was on point. Got the calories in, got the simple sugars in, got the electrolytes in. That seemed to work for me. Fundraising, I don't think it could have gone any better. We raised over £10,000 for Movember, the men's health charity, and I only ever wanted to raise about £1,000 for it. So I was blown away by sort of the traction that it gained, and sort of how it inspired people, I guess, to donate.
You got some quite good press from it. I saw it was on, was it like, what's that TV show? QI, was it?
Have I Got News for You?
Have I Got News for You?
It went everywhere. It was nuts. It was on Have I Got News for You? So I was a genuine question. They had a question about me, like they were saying.
Yeah, I saw that.
The question was like, which record has a Welshman broken over the weekend or something? And it was in the New York Post. It was in the Guardian. It was in the Metro, the Daily Mail, the Sun. It really... even in other countries as well. There was press about me in Japan. There was press about me in Australia, New Zealand. It went global, and I think that's what helped with donations as well. It was when it hit the Guardian, actually. When it hit the Guardian, that's when it started to really fly in. I was on radio. I was on the Times radio station as well, and that was quite funny. So they did a 2-3 minute interview with me, and I was watching it as well because it was all live online. And they were asking me about the Cock and Balls record and all this. And then as soon as I left, they said, right, let's hear from the listeners. What have they got to say? And the comments that coming through were, That man needs a serious talking to. That was the biggest waste of time on Times Radio I've ever heard. But I found it hilarious because they're all a bit stiff, aren't they? The Times readers. Maybe they don't quite get it. But yeah, it went nuts, and really, really proud about how sort of far and wide it went. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, if it was going to happen to anyone, like, it's always going to be you, because like, just this is like, I'm not shitting on my own podcast here, but like, I think your podcast is way better than mine, and I've always said it, and it's because of you. Like, you've just got like so much like charisma about you. Like, I just like the way you present yourself is just like so upbeat, and it's just so genuinely you that it's like, yeah, like the questions you ask, like the interest you show in people, like it's completely different to this.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But if you could be in my head when I'm doing those podcasts, I may seem cool, calm, and collective and upbeat, but inside my head, I'm like, shit, what question have I got to ask next? I'm running out. I can't think. What word is this? It's complete panic. So it may seem on the surface well presented. It's complete panic in my head when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I think I've just got I've mastered the art of talking shit. Maybe that's what it is. Like I can maybe just keep talking. That's all it is. Like.
But it's just your character. It's just like it suits challenges like this, and it suits podcasting, and it suits like this just wild, wacky sort of stuff. Yeah. But then linking it to mental health and challenge and things like that, like it's very on brand. Like Rokman is you.
Yeah, I guess so. We've always thought it's all about positive mental outlook and attitude on life. Really, that's what it is. It's don't dwell on things. If you can always find the positive in something, I suppose I try to embody that. And there's no one's going to want to listen to a man sort of wallowing in his own self-pity. You've got to be upbeat about these things. But that's half the reason why I do these challenges and why they're so unique, is because I'm never going to be the fastest. Look, I'm still carrying my Christmas weight now. Like I still haven't been able to shift it. I'm not going to be the fastest. I'm not going to be the first. I'm not going to get the most elevation in. I'm not going to be a sort of genuine performance record breaker. But what I can do is something interesting, novel, perhaps something that no one's ever seen before, but with a comedic edge. That's what I'm aiming to be. I don't want it to be serious. I want it to be interesting. You've got to be able to stop people scrolling on their phones. It has to be something that stops them in their tracks and like, oh, what's that all about? Because I'm not an athlete. I'm the everyman. Like I'm not an athlete, and hopefully that's what I mean. Like, there's obviously going to be more normal people out there than there are athletes, and if I can inspire the normal people that are living through normal things and normal struggles with their lives and pressures, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
Then I've done my job. Yeah.
See, this is what I think you do better than a lot of the people out there, because like I get what you're saying, like you are just an everyday person. So are a lot of like the people I have on here, which I find funny because everyone looks up to us. And then I say us because like I've been included in that a lot recently, but I'm just an average person. Like people look at me, they're like, oh my god, like you're this amazing athlete, and I'm like, I'm not, but I've worked my arse off to be.
You have worked your ass off.
And it's the same, like I look at like Lee and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Lee is like, he's got kids, he's got a missus. She moans at him for training too much. Yeah. He goes on bloody holiday and he sets an FKT.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's still getting that bollocking when he gets back, being like, you've been gone too long today, mate.
Well, Lee's fantastic, Lee Davis, in that he is an everyman. He has got a full-time job, and he's now put himself at the pinnacle and elite end of athleticism, even with all those struggles. So maybe I am got an excuse. Maybe I need to up my game.
He's got that like brain condition and everything as well. So like he's got so much going on. But then when I talk to people about Lee, or like myself and things I go through, they're like, oh yeah, but you're like gifted, or like they just can't see that gap of like, this is where I'm at, this is where you're at, how do I get that? No matter what we tell them, they're always going to have that barrier of like, yeah, but like you're just different, aren't you? Whereas
Yeah.
like I think you relate to people a lot better because you're like, yeah, look, I got like this Christmas berry.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like I'm just doing like something that is very up there in its own right, like doing 75 miles or 72 with 10,000 feet of elevation. That's no joke. Like that's not like oh, I'm just going to go out and do this thing for a bit of fundraising. It's like that is a serious challenge in its own right.
Yeah, and I learned that. I learned that the hard way. And not to say I underestimated it, but I didn't think it would be that hard. I knew it'd be hard. I didn't know it'd be that hard, where you really are, you're sort of stuck in this situation where the only way out is through. I think that's it. It's you either quit, which is not an option, or you just have to get through it. And it was a lot. It was a hell of a lot tougher than I thought it was. But yeah, I suppose you're quite right. Everyone has their struggles. I suppose even professional athletes are going to have their struggles as well. They're going to have the demands of maybe. Well, I suppose being a professional athlete, work is their job, or their job is to be an athlete. So
Yeah.
in a way, they do have a job and commitments and responsibilities to do. Top that off with a partner. Top that off with kids, a dog, the goldfish, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I suppose no one escapes these pressures. Everyone's got them.
Yeah, I do think it is different for like when you look at like well-paying sports like rugby, football, things like that. It's like, yeah, you're training hard, but like they do have a lot more freedom than your everyday person. And when
Yeah.
you're looking at like different countries, Olympians and stuff, where it's like they get so much funding that like, because I always tell people like they try to train like an athlete, but they've got everything else in their life that's adding extra stress, and they can't recover as well as athletes. Like they can't be like, right, I'm gonna like I'd look at LeBron James, and he's got like a 1.5 million pounds a year that he spends on recovery, and he's like, I'll sleep for 8 hours, then I'll get up, I'll train this time, then I'll have a nap, and then I'll go see a physio, or I'll go to my PT, then I'll have another nap, then I'll go and play. And it's like he can perform at that level because he's got that funding and everything behind him. Whereas like if you look at like Olympians, like I was watching a video about like some cyclists, I can't remember what the video was, but they're just like done the Olympics, and then they were getting interviewed afterwards, and they're like, oh, what's your next week looking like? And most of the people were like, I'm going back to work now.
Oh, really?
Like they're like, I've got my office job. And it's just like, you don't expect that from Olympians,
No.
because there's so many sports where there's just not the funding, so they do have to work.
Yeah. I suppose it comes down to passion then.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that throw themselves into these sports where there is no funding, but they just love it. So then I suppose it comes down to what's their motive, what's motivating them, and I suppose it's internal then, isn't it? It's not external. It's not the pay. It's not accolades. It's the internal sort of purpose that they get from it. I guess that's what drives us through. But it's time is the biggest one. Time is the biggest killer. When you've got these responsibilities, you have no time.
Yeah.
I tell you, having kids was the biggest eye opener for me. I used to think I didn't have time. Then I had kids. Then you realise how much time you had, but you've wasted, and you can never get back now because you've got kids. But you just gotta. I'm more productive now than I was before I had kids, if you can believe that. But it's because now I have limited time. I've got to make that time work for me.
Yeah.
So I just have to be more proactive about stuff. But with the benefit of being a professional athlete, maybe they only have to train 2 hours a day, something like that, maybe a bit of rehab. But then I guess, as you're saying, they get the rest of the day off to relax and recover, and they can do whatever they want. And I suppose when they're not under the cosh and they haven't got that pressure on them, they can really relax their mind, I guess.
Yeah. Like I never take for granted the position I'm in, where it's like I know that I push myself a lot.
You do.
And I appreciate how much time I can invest into my training. Like I'll look at my Strava, and I'm like, minimum I'm training is sort of like 10-12 hours a week.
That's a lot.
That's the minimum. I try and aim for like 20 plus hours a week of training, and I can, because I work in a gym.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, I've got an hour between clients now. What shall I do? Oh, I'll do my strength training now. Like, it's not like I'm having to fit it around work, because like that is my work. It's like my day naturally falls with hour-long gaps. So I'm like, I can go for a run. I'll go on the Stairmaster for half an hour. I'll do my weight session, and I'm already there in the environment.
I think that's the key one, isn't it? It's being in that environment.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
I've removed as many barriers as I can to training by making training my life.
yeah.
And it's been very intentional that I've done that. It's not an accident.
No.
But that's how much I prioritize training. Is I'm like, my life is built around training.
Yeah.
And I don't have a family. I live on my own.
You're lucky.
Like you said earlier, like you came in here and we'd done like a whole tour of the house, and then you had that realization of like, Will, where do you sleep? Like, I didn't see a bed. I'm like, oh, in here. This is my bedroom.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it also is a podcast studio. Like, I've built everything here. This whole house is based around adventure athletes.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Love it.
Like, this my dedication to what I'm doing, because I love doing it, and
Yeah.
I want to have, like, I've got big dreams. You probably know some of them by now, but it's just like, yeah, and it's that makes, I think that's what makes it hard for people to then relate to me, because they're like, well, I do have kids, and my life isn't training.
It's just circumstance at the end of the day. It's a lot of these people, I suppose they look at these David Gogginses or something, or these pro athletes, and maybe they do think, I need to be training two times a day to get to where I want to be. And then if you put that pressure on yourself, then they're not, you're not gonna stick at it. It's not gonna be consistent. They need to accept how much they can train, and be happy with that. And it is all about circumstances. You've got this life where you can actually dedicate yourself. And it's really admirable, to be honest. You're not wasting a minute. That's what I see when I look at you. You've got this time, but you're not wasting it. You're using it. I suppose the worst thing you could do is have this time and waste it. And I suppose that's what you've got. People have just got to look at their lives. What can I bring to this? Don't get disheartened if you're not doing 2 times a day. It's not. You can't keep that up. If you've got a real life and commitments, just be happy with what you can do. Yeah.
Something else along similar sort of lines, which I've been thinking about and talking about to some of my clients a lot recently, is this whole thing of, like, people see me progressing really quick in a thing, and I started thinking, like, well, what makes me different to you? Like, why am I progressing quicker? Because, like, I see them come in and they'll work hard and they're getting results, but maybe it's not quite where they want to be. It's not quite quick enough for them, or it's not consistent enough, or like they just haven't expected, like they haven't done as much as expected, sort of thing. And like, I was like, oh, maybe it's consistency of program. And then I was like, but I'm not always that consistent. And that, like, I was thinking about all these things, and the biggest thing that I've thought of, which I think you're going to attest to with the whole Rokman brand, is it's to do with pushing yourself through discomfort and challenges. And I'm really good through years of doing it, of being like, I think I'm at the end point of what I can manage, and then pushing through and trying harder. Mm-hmm. So whether I'm on like a long run, like when I did the backyard ultra recently, for an example, is I'd only ever run 47 miles. That was my PB before that. And I'd done that 4 weeks beforehand. Mm. So that was like a fresh PB for me. Before that, it was 30 miles. So I've gone from 30 miles to 47. And then I was like, well, I wanted 50, but that doesn't seem enough now. So I hit the 50-mile mark, and then I kept going. And I managed to hit 67 miles. Whereas nice. Like a month before, I was like 50 is going to be like my absolute limit. But I reached points where I was like, I really want to give up. And then I kept going. So I'm really good at having that switch and flicking it. And I think that comes across in my training, is like when I'm doing heavy lifts, like heavy squats, I'm doing a set of 10 squats at like 120. At rep 5, I'm like, I really don't want to do this. This is uncomfortable. I think like my body's had enough. But then you're like, no, keep going. And you push through that.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes that biggest difference, for my training at least.
You're probably right. I mean, the first thing I'd say is people shouldn't be comparing. You're on your own journey, and if you're going to be comparing yourself to whether it's you or someone else or people they see on Instagram, you're only going to get disheartened if you don't feel that you're keeping up. But it's nothing to do with anyone else. It's to do with you and your personal journey, and they should just concentrate on their next sort of milestone, their next target. And it shouldn't be They shouldn't be looking into the future. They should be just looking at, say they're looking to lose 10 kilograms. Don't look at losing 10 kilograms. Look in one, and then one, and then one. So that's my first thing. But the second thing is, it's this 40% rule. It's a famous Navy SEAL rule, made even more famous by David Goggins. He talks about it. But I think it maybe is that sort of mental barrier. And what it is when you feel like you're done, you're only at 40% of your capacity. There's still 60% to go. And it could be that you've mastered the art of pushing that little bit further, getting past that sort of mental block of pushing yourself further. But they'll only get it through consistent training and pushing just a little bit. But you don't want to be pushed too much either, because you don't want to be a bag of bones at the end of it. You don't want to bloody wreck yourself. It's just little bits, little hurdles, little bite-sized chunks that you can sort of push each time. And maybe that's what it is. If you feel that when they're hitting the 40% and then they're convincing themselves that, okay, I'll stop now, when maybe they've got a little bit more left in the tank and that they can push. Because I wouldn't mind betting you said you did 67 miles. You could have done that the month before, but you'd never done it, and there was that mental block. Roger Bannister with the 4-minute mile. No one thought they could break 4 minutes until he did it. And as soon as he did it, other people realised, oh, we can do it too. And then I think it was broken just countless times since. Look at the Olympics. Everyone's running under 4-minute miles now with the fastest mile.
Yeah. So
maybe it is just a mental block. But then that comes down to confidence. And confidence is a big issue with people. But you only gain confidence. Success breeds confidence. You only get it through successes. But don't push yourself too far that you're failing, because then you're gonna go down into a negative spiral. It's just through time. You've been doing it for years, and from what I see, you're always putting yourself into your training. So people shouldn't beat themselves up. They should just concentrate on themselves, and maybe when they do hit that mental block, just push. For example, I don't know, maybe they're doing 50 push-ups and they feel like quitting at 30. We'll do 32. Push through the barrier, and then that'll get you used to sort of pushing through the barriers in future times. Push that a little bit further.
I agree, but also disagree.
Yeah.
Because I think that they need almost like a crucible event. And that's what I do. Like, obviously I'm going to be the one saying this, but I think that's why I like Rokman so much, and I love what you do with Rokman. And you set them a monthly challenge
series, 4 challenges over 4 weeks.
That challenge series. And it's things that at first when they're looking at it, they're going to be like, well, I don't think I can do that. And then they push through it, and then they do it,
and then they gain confidence.
So it's those steps. But then if it's just because I see a lot of people say that they'll get it from training, like you was just saying in the gym. It's like, instead of 30, do 32. But I don't think that's big enough to change that mentality. It will give them little bits of confidence, but then there's always going to be that, well, you're pushing a little bit, but
do you want to push even further?
If you want, but that's why I like what you do, because it's well, this is the challenge, so
I like what you said there, the crucible event, because I suppose that's exactly what we're doing at Rokman, online challenge platform, online challenge platform, rokman.co.uk, monthly challenges, challenge series. I think, sometimes you need a gauntlet laid down before your feet to give you that reason to push. Maybe it comes down to, why are you doing it? If it's a training session, and this is the worst thing I see, people do training without a goal. They're training for training's sake. Maybe they want to get fitter. What does that even mean? What's fitter? Give yourself, or stronger. What's stronger? What is it? Give me a measurable target that you're aiming for. With the challenges, we lay something down to give you a focus, give you discipline, give you accountability. And maybe when you have a why you're doing things, that's going to be a big reason for you to push through further. For example, if you're in a big endurance event, like an ultra run, and you're at mile 30 and you've got 10 to go and there's nothing left in the tank, but you're there in the moment and you have to achieve it, and you've been training for 3-4 months for it, you're going to push yourself. You're going to go, I ain't stopping. I'm going to get those 10 miles and bag it. Compare that to a training session where you're training for training's sake, and you hit 2K on the treadmill and you said you do 5, you just go, stuff it, I'll leave it, I'll go home. So maybe it does come down to purpose as well. What's the reason why they're doing it? In fact, that's one of the massive reasons. That's why I have struggled. So I've still got the Christmas belly. I have lost a little bit, by the way, but not all of it. I've struggled because in January, I gave myself a month or two off after my big challenge. And then in January, I was like, right, let's get back into it. Let's get back into the swing of things. I'm still getting it wrong. And I sort of know how the mind works. I'm still getting it wrong. And I was like, right, let's just get fitter again. That was my goal. And it didn't work because there was no tangible reason of why I should be doing it. And I've struggled to string sort of more than 2-3 sessions a week at the moment. But in this last week now, I've been humbled, realised how unfit I am, and I'm going to set myself a target. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be sort of maybe an endurance run or something like that for 3 months' time. But when you've got something in the calendar pinned down with a deep reason behind it as well, don't do a challenge that you don't want to do. You have to be excited by it, otherwise what's the point? That's going to give you the fire in the belly to get out and push yourself further. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for someone that's looking to set themselves a challenge but doesn't know where to start?
What you love doing. Pick something you love. Pick something you actually want to do. I've done it many times where you do a big race that you're really excited about and you're like, right, let's do something else. And Ironman was one. I felt like I needed to do Ironman. I was like, I need to do it. Everyone's doing it. It's a big thing. But I don't like it. It doesn't interest me. But I started going through the motions of setting it up and, right, what would my training plan? Which one would I do? And then I came to the realization. I was like, I don't actually want to do this. Like, not because it's too big. It's just, it doesn't interest me. So find something you love. What do you want to do? What excites you? And it can be anything. It could be a personal challenge. It doesn't have to be an event. I like looking at landscapes now, out there in, the Welsh landscape or whatever, the Scottish Highlands. I like looking at landscapes and I sort of want to apply myself to that. Can I beat that landscape, if that makes any sense?
Yeah.
Can I go out and do a challenge and, 50 miles across this rugged terrain that has sort of notoriety of being tough and bleak and brutal? And that's what excites me. Can I beat the Snowdonian mountains and stuff? And that's what excites me rather than races. But find what excites you. What do you really want to do? Even if it's a grand goal, say you're going from nothing to running the Dragon's Back. Well, yeah, have the Dragon's Back as maybe a long-term goal, but then break that down into smaller challenges and goals from that point until when you do the Dragon's Back to build yourself up. So then the challenges that you're doing in between are leading to the grand challenge that you've got at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you agree on something like that? How would you advise someone?
I mean, I'm probably the worst person to ask because I'm just like, what's the biggest, hardest thing you can think of that just seems completely unachievable, but in like a slightly weird way seems doable?
Yeah.
So it's got to seem like unachievable but slightly doable, whether that's doable to you or not. Like when I signed up to do the Pegasus Slam in a week, there was no way I thought that was achievable for me because I'd done the biggest race I'd done. It was my third ultramarathon, was the Rhythm, which is the last of the Pegasus Slam series. I struggled walking for a week afterwards. I hit 30k and I crashed and I was like, I hate this, I'm useless, and I had to walk the last like 10-20k and I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm just not cut out for running, even though I'd already done 2 ultras. But like the first one, 1 minute of the cut-off time. The second one, I was like, I really want to hit sub 7 hours I wanted, and I did 8.5 hours. And then I was like, I'm just not, like, I'd got better because the first one did no training. Second one did a little bit of training. Not a lot, a little bit.
Yeah.
Third one, I was like, I'm going to be so fit after doing the tire flip. Like, I'm going to be, like, really good. 7.5 hours. And I was like, what is going on? Like, 7.5 hours for 50k. Like, I should be quicker. And, like, I was like, no, this is, like, I'm not a runner. Like, I just can't do this ultra stuff. I'm good at shorter distances. Half marathon, really good at. And then had this 6 and 6 in mind, and I was like, it seems so unachievable to me, but I know people can do it. And then I'm like, I want to try to see how far I can get for that. And now that I'm actually trying and like I've been running consistently for 4 months now, I'm now at a point where I'm like, oh, this is achievable for me. Like, I think I could do it next week if I wanted. I've still got like 3 months ish, but I'm like, I could probably do it next week. I'd suck if I did it next week.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I've got the 3 months.
You could grind it out.
But I'm like, I could do it, and I wouldn't be too worse for wear afterwards.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, choose the craziest thing you can think. Like, I chose when I signed up for the marathon tire flip. Why a marathon? The world record for 24 hours was 7 miles, or just under 7 miles. Why 26? Why was I like, I'll do 19 miles on top of that?
Was this all going through your head while you were flipping it as well?
It was going through my head before I started flipping it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to do a marathon. Like, it's just... And I was... Really, it was good marketing. Like, that was what was in my head, is I was like, a marathon tire flip. Everyone can relate to a marathon.
Yeah.
If I said, I'm doing a half marathon, guarantee... comment, probably Bob, would have been, why not a marathon, Will?
Yeah.
If I was like, oh, I'm going to do a 10k tyre flip, people would be like, oh yeah, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
But a marathon, people are like, fuck, I couldn't run a marathon.
It's pretty bloody massive.
Yeah.
No one can do these challenges when they sign up. When they start, when they think about it, no one can do it. That's why they think, oh, I could never do that. No, you can't. Not right now. But is it achievable with training? Could you train for that? And then you train and get yourself into a position where all of a sudden, oh, I can do it. And then all of a sudden, it's not about the challenge. The challenge is just an opportunity to celebrate the lifestyle and the training that you've put in. If you've put the training in, the correct training, was it achievable through that training? Yes. Have you done your training? Yes. Then the challenge is, it's not a challenge anymore, really, because it's like, the challenge is the training. That's the challenge. The end of it is just an opportunity to celebrate what you've just achieved through the training to get yourself to that point. So, but with you, maybe you could do a marathon. I'm telling you could, with the proper training. And now going through the process that you've done, how long would it take? Would it take 3 years? Could it be that it would take like 2-3 years to train for that? You could have it as a goal, but it's how, can anyone stay motivated for 3 years for something like that? Probably not. So I suppose that's it. When you're looking at challenges and whether they're achievable or not, it's not whether they're achievable in the moment and now, but are they achievable through training? Could I train myself to get to that point? I think
that's a good point. Is not even that bit there, but when you're like, could you stay motivated for 3 years of flipping a tire?
No.
And it's like, is it achievable with my lifestyle and dedication to it?
Yes.
Because you look at people like Usain Bolt, great example, trains 4 years to run 100 meters,
which took him less than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
4 years for less than 10 seconds.
So that is 4 years of dedication for such a short thing. And it's repetitive thing. It's not like there's loads of variables when it comes to running 100 meters. Like, you just run 100 meters. There's only so much variety you can add to your training for that.
It's going to be the same over and over again. But I suppose it comes down to the why he's doing it, the purpose, the intrinsic value that he's going to get from it.
So I think that's something that you really need to consider when setting these challenges, which I've never thought of before, is like, am I going to be able to consistently be driven for this for a long amount of time?
Yeah, I get it with half marathons. When I'm training for a half marathon, well, I've done it in the past. I'll give myself 3 months to train. By month 2, I start falling off the training. I've lost interest. It's a long time. When I do half marathons now, I only train in 2 months because it's when you're training, when you're applying yourself, it takes up a lot of time. What we're talking about, responsibilities and stuff like that, and excess can never endure. You can't keep doing that unless you want a divorce and then lose your house and kids and stuff. So it's what period of time can I dedicate to this that would actually fit? You've got to factor all these things in. Do I want to stay with my partner? Hopefully, yes. Do I want to have a relationship with my kids? Do I not want my work to be affected? So I suppose that's it. When you're doing these, when you're setting out these challenges, setting out your training, you've got to think about all these factors. And if you don't, it's going to be at the detriment to everything. Because the worst thing you can do is set yourself up for failure. And whether that is your training block is too short, your training block is too intense, it's taking up too much time, the end goal is not achievable within the time you give yourself. That's the worst thing you do, because we talked about confidence. Confidence is it's like a superpower. It's not a superpower because we can all achieve it. It is achievable confidence, but it's only achieved through successes. It's only achieved through successes, and failures are the worst things that you can do. So set your goals right. That's it. And again, that's what I do with my challenges. Is, for example, when I did the big penis run, is I set a few little challenges within that training period to gain confidence, and that's what I'd always recommend, is just to have these little benchmarks at certain points throughout your training, to go out there and build your confidence, and that's what it is. But don't set yourself up for failure.
Yeah. I think maybe that's a really good point of why I seem so successful in what I'm doing, is because, again, not because I'm anything special, but because I can dedicate so much time to it. So like when I'm running 6 ultras in 6 days, it's like, well, yeah, I'm running, like I love talking about this. I tell everyone about this because it's blown my mind. Last year, I did the 496 in January, didn't I?
Yes.
So I ran 496 kilometers in January. Throughout the whole year then, I ran 1,000 kilometers. So I did almost half of my running in January, and then the rest spread throughout the next 11 months.
Yeah.
And then this year so far, 4 months in, I've run 1,200 kilometers.
In 4 months?
In 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, like I'm already further running wise than I was for all of last year, but I can dedicate that much time to running.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I say that number, people are like, oh my god, like that's
a lot.
That's a lot.
It is,
and
I'm
like, it is, but that's because I can go out running for like 10 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
And not worry about stuff like, I know like you're worried about time today because you're like, I've got to get back to the kids and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's like, last week when you cancelled the podcast and moved it to today,
And that was
I was
kids.
like,
yeah,
I was on a run, as you know.
Yeah.
I was already running, and then as soon as you cancelled, I was like, well, I don't have plans for the rest of the day now, so I'm going to keep running.
Yeah.
So that was my thought. So I spent 8 hours out the house last week running.
Yeah.
Just on the random Saturday.
You're a lucky sod.
Yeah.
You're a lucky sod. But time is hard, and I've got a few tips for that as well, because maybe people think that they can't fit time in, or they're struggling to fit time in. But it's about, I always say, you've got to pick times when you're not in demand. That's the thing. If you do have responsibilities, whether it's work, the wife, kids, whatever, you've got to pick times when you're not in demand. So what I tend to do with my training is I get up before anyone's awake. And I'm not talking, your 4 a.m. club, like these bloody nutter fitness influencers, which is unsustainable, by the way. And here's one thing the 4 a.m. club don't tell you, is they go to bed at about 7 p.m. every day. They don't tell you that bit, do they? So I would get up at about 6 a.m. because I know they're going to be getting up at about 7, half 7. And then I've got an hour to go out and get a run in or a gym session. You've also got your lunch breaks in work. I get an hour for lunch in work. I can whack my trainers on. I can bust out a quick 10k, and then that's a session done. And I'm not in demand. It's my time. I'm in work, and it's my lunch break. But also your commutes to work as well. Can you utilize your commutes as well? If you live a couple of miles away from when you work, can you use that as a run? Run there, run back. Or if you work 30 miles away, can you drive your car or get the train, hop off a couple of miles away from where you are and get a run in as well there? They're my 3 tips for sort of fitting time in. I think a lot of people feel that if they don't have the right time where they can fit it in, then they just won't do it. But there are times, and you've got to find the time and make the time. Simple as that, yeah.
And it doesn't have to be masses of time. Like, you don't have to train like me of like, 20 hours a week is the minimum you should be doing. It's like, no, like half hour a day.
Consistency. So whatever it is, even if you feel it's not enough, you need to be able to consistently stick at it. If you're not going to consistently stick at it, it is too much. You're going to fall off the wagon, and you're just going to constantly do these peaks and troughs. But consistency will always beat intensity over anything. If you can keep something up for a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to see the gains, you're going to see the progress. And I'm sat here with a Christmas belly. I know. Don't listen to me.
Going into, back to the challenge side of things then, what I'm really interested currently, and I know I struggle with this massively, so I really want to hear your thoughts on it, is they call it post-race blues.
Oh, yeah, it's real.
Yeah, after you've done an event, it could be your first marathon, because we had London and that, what was it, Manchester the other week, things like that, and you've put loads of time and effort, you've set all these little benchmark goals, you've worked towards this big goal, and then you've done it, and you get that euphoria of yes, I did this thing, and then afterwards it just it hits you, and you feel lost, and you have no motivation to train anymore, you don't know what you're doing. What do you do? How do you get out of that space?
How do you get out of it? Well, I can explain why it happens. It's purpose. For that period of time where you were training, you had an intense purpose that you could apply for your life, and it gave your life a foundation and a framework to work with. Every single day you woke up with excitement because you're working towards this epic goal. We are creatures of aim. We are creatures of targets. It's why the whole brain is set up with the dopamine system. That's when we achieve a target, or we get something, dopamine's released, we feel happy, we feel satisfied, we feel fulfilled. There's also another brain mechanism called the incentive reward system inside our brains, where it releases dopamine when we are just purely working towards something. It's not necessarily achievement, but if we're working towards something that we deem deep intrinsic value from, we'll also get those dopamine hits. When you finish that race, it's done. Now where are you getting your dopamine hit? Where's your purpose in your life? The best thing I recommend is, maybe you wouldn't think I'd say this, is first, rest. You need to rest, have a bit of time off, but then start thinking about what your next goal is. You need another target. And again, it's not fitness for fitness sake. It's not strength for strength's sake. You need something tangible, and you need something that excites you. Simple as that. What is your next goal? What's your next thing? And it doesn't have to be massive. You don't have to go, right, what's my next massive goal? Just have something a little, right, I just want to improve my squat by 10 kilograms now. But by having these goals, you're giving your life a framework again. That's when people... That's the whole reason why I started Rokman, the whole reason why I do challenges, the whole reason why I raise money for men's health charities and such, is because you see these people who are lost in life. They have no aims, or they feel suffocated with sort of life's responsibilities. They don't have time for themselves. They feel frustrated. They feel like they've got more and they can't get it out. And this is what leads to problems, on a deeper level, mental problems, depression, anxiety, and it may not happen overnight. It could be a slow burner, but you can get to that point, and it's all about having an aim for yourself, because as I've explained, we are creatures of aim. We need something to work towards all the time, constantly. That's how our whole brain and body functions. We need something to aim for. So what I'd recommend is get something in the diary, get a goal, but it can just be anything.
Yeah.
But it has to be important to you. Yeah.
No, I think that's good advice. It's so hard to always have a challenge. I know I'm always an extreme case.
It doesn't have to be a challenge though.
Yeah.
It could be maybe something to do with work, maybe something to do with your family, maybe it's financial. I want to make some savings, but you need something in your life that's you're aiming for, and progressing forward and achieving something.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be, I'm going to work my bollocks off, pushing my limits. You do need to give your body a rest. I do believe that, you put yourself through extreme trauma, your body is going to welcome a rest, going through the ringer and all the stress and the cortisol running through your body. So, for you, maybe after a big challenge, go, right, I'm going to dedicate the next 3 months to adventure athletes. I'm going to get my social following up to this. I'm going to acquire a couple more clients. Don't worry about training. but have a goal. Simple
Yeah.
as that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I really like that of just filling up a different bucket for a little while.
Yeah. You can't fill up all the buckets all the time. You have to have a priority.
Yeah.
You have to have a priority list. And all right, yeah, put a little bit of weight on over the last few months, but I've been concentrating on my businesses and my work and my family. So I've been filling those buckets up, because when you're training, those buckets go down a little because you're not able to put your full concentration on it. So yeah, I like that, filling up the buckets. That's what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's given me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is, and I've been thinking this a bit recently anyway, is like, this is the most amount of like events that I've signed up to in a year. It's probably like more. I'm probably doing more events this year than I've done in the rest of my life. Because like I've already done 4 ultras this year. I've done a couple of other smaller races. I've got 2 high roxes coming up. I've got my 6 and 6. I've got the Cardiff Half.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm supporting other people's events, and I've just, my calendar is back to back to back to back to back, like all year.
You ain't got time to think.
No.
You ain't got time. Yeah.
And like I've just been thinking recently, like next year, like I don't even want to think of doing a challenge. Like I know I'm going to. And usually, like by now, I'm already thinking, what's next year's challenge? Well, what am I doing next year?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm at the point now where I'm like, fuck next year. Like, I don't want to have to think of something else. And again, it's a bit different for me because this is my job. So I link the two very closely,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, well, my success in this challenge might determine my success in the business and how I look for adventure athletes. Like, if I fail, like, is that gonna? And I know it's more in my head than anything else, but
Mm-hmm.
like, it does go through my head, and I'm like, well, now I feel like I have to be talking about it all the time because it's my job and it's my advertising. This is my marketing. Is me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just constantly pushing. And I'm like, when's the last time I did an event just for the sake of doing an event? Like, now I know Tuesday because I turned up last minute to a fell race. Never done a fell race. Loved it.
Yeah, I bet
Absolutely
it's cool.
loved it. But I think I loved it more, and Mike sort of inspired me for this because I went to the Backyard Ultra and I'm like, I've got a goal. I'm doing this. I went in like really professional and serious, and I'd come in every lap and I would sit down in my chair, my parents crewing me, getting me food and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, I'm hating this. Like, I'm so miserable. And he would get back just like on a jolly and he would just be like, oh, that was a lovely lap. And I was like, shut the fuck up, mate. Yeah. I said this on Lee's podcast and he loved it, so I thought I'd say it again.
Yeah.
Just another shout out here, Mike. He was just so upbeat, and I was like, he's being too upbeat for me, like on some of the laps. I loved it. I needed him there. Like, I'm not saying like don't be upbeat, because definitely do, but I just wasn't feeling it myself.
Yeah.
And he was like, you put too much pressure on yourself for this stuff. And I was like, oh, like, you've only just now figured that out, mate.
Yeah.
He was like, just do something without expectation. So I turned up last minute to this fell race on Tuesday, and I had no idea what I was getting in for, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I was smiling like the whole I was suffering, but I was smiling, and I finished and I was like, that was great.
Do more of that.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. I think that's maybe what you can do. I mean, if you're saying you're back to back this year, it's just next year. Look, don't forget, you can dine off your accomplishments for a long time. It doesn't mean, like, say, I know we're sitting behind a trophy that you got there, second place in an ultra run.
A half marathon.
Half marathon, is it? Okay.
Not that good yet.
Second place, podium, like, that's incredible. You can dine off that for longer than you think. It's not, oh, I've done that, I've posted about it on socials, now it's over, what's on next? Nah, give yourself a break and just keep mentioning that and keep ramming that down people's throats for like a year. After my challenge, I do big challenges every 2 years. That I've learned is every 1 year, you get a bit fed up of it. I think like it's just a bit too much, and it's not necessarily the grind that you're tired of. It's just like you fall out of love with it a bit. You know, things change in your life. So but give yourself those breaks maybe. So when you do come back to a challenge, you are pumped up and you're ready. You know, however long that time is, it's up to you. For me, it's 2 years, because I couldn't think of anything worse than doing a challenge in November. I can't be asked. I've done a big one. Next year, we'll do something, but maybe look at that. Just enjoy yourself. You can go out and enjoy races and just document you enjoying races. Maybe that'll resonate more with the clients that you want to see. Maybe it's not all about massive achievement. It's just about enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, what's the bloody point? Like, don't do it.
That's just me though. Like, and I think it, like, all of that stuff was happening at a time where obviously I quit my full-time job, doing this full-time, trying to make this work full-time.
Yeah.
Masses of stress. Like, there's so much going on in my life, and I was like not in a good place mentally. So I think that obviously feeds into it. So when you do these challenges, and just me as a person, like, I know that I get quite bad depression and stuff, and I use that for the challenges. Like, whenever I've spoken about a challenge, like, I go to a dark place, but that dark place lets me do the challenge. Without that dark place, like, I really struggle pushing myself. So, like, I feed off that almost. So it is partly just how I am, but, like, yeah, if I'm not enjoying any of it, like, I think it's okay to not enjoy the actual event. I think people get that wrong. People think that I really enjoy the event. Like you're saying with, like, the cock and balls.
Yeah.
That was brutal. And there's points where you're going to be just miserable throughout it.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, well, that is the purpose of doing the event, is pushing through that. And that's where the achievement comes from. But if you're not even enjoying the training for it, then...
Yeah, if you don't enjoy the training,
yeah,
because that's essentially what we were discussing earlier. Is that's the challenge? Is the training? If you're not enjoying that, then yeah, you need to have a chat with yourself. But I've got this saying, like, I don't like running. I like having run. That's what it is. It's like, I don't like the challenges. I like having done the challenge.
Yeah.
But if you're still getting enjoyment out of that, fine. But if you're not enjoying the training, Jesus Christ, you need to get something from it. You need to feel some sort of benefit after each time.
Oh, I think I went really wrong with the tyre flip there. Just my whole approach to it was like, I was like, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to feel really good afterwards. But when I didn't even get the world record and I came away injured, and that is probably the best I've felt with failing, like, ever. But, like, I came away and I was like, well, I wasn't really happy. Like, I didn't finish it and I didn't feel good about it. And I look back and I'm still not, like, I'm not really that proud of what I've done. I know I should be. Absolutely. But I didn't enjoy the training for it. It sucked. And I skipped so much training because I wasn't enjoying it. And I didn't want to do it. And then even during the event, like, there were times where I was like, yeah, like, I'm enjoying the fact that people are coming here and supporting me. And I was so appreciative of that. And that there was this sort of just thing of like, well, I have to do it. It wasn't like I want to do this anymore. It was like, oh, I have to do it. I've told everyone I would. People have come to support me. And then when I then didn't do it, it's like, well, I didn't really enjoy that. And I've come off injured and it's just not been a good time all round. And I don't look back and I'm not proud of it. And it's just like, there's just not, there wasn't anything right about it. Whereas like now, like, people are seeing me running all the time. And people are starting to see me smiling when I'm running. And they're like, you're enjoying this, aren't you? And I'm like, I actually am, yeah. And I think that's why I'm more excited about the 6 and 6 now, is because I'm like, I really want to do it next week. Because I'm like, it just seems like a good week. I'm not like dreading it. I've always dreaded my challenges. But now I'm like, no, I want to do it now.
Yeah.
I've got that excitement in me.
Don't let that fade. You've got 3 months, which is a long time.
Yeah.
You need to keep it fun and fulfilling for at least 2 months without it falling off.
Well,
you can get like, oh, I'm bored of this, man, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but I've been using it to socialise. So I go to Running Punks every Wednesday.
Perfect.
And it's like, it's not, we do like a 10k, but like I get to go out and we have a laugh. Like, my legs, I don't know if you can see on camera, but like my legs are cut to pieces.
Yeah.
Like,
I can see, yeah, little brambles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Rose, who was leading the run, was just like, yeah, it says there's a path here, and we're like, we can clearly see there's not a path. She's like, oh, it's fine. And like, me and her are just stamping down these brambles.
Having a laugh.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about belonging, isn't it? And being with people. That's what it's all about. Like, yeah.
And then I've been running with Naomi Benson, incredible runner who lives like 4 miles away.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I've managed to get a run in with her because her schedule's like more manic than mine. Nathan Hutton's invited me out to go running with him. He won Wild Horse.
Right.
And I'm like, why are these really good runners inviting me out to run? But like, I'm loving it because I feel like part of that, and I'm getting some like recognition through that, because why would a really good runner want to run with me? They're like, oh, they're seeing that I'm potentially going to be a pretty good runner.
Because you're podiing them. Well, they want to, what's they say? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's what they're just checking you out. That's what they're going to do. They're going to start on these long runs giving you bad advice. Oh, yeah, what you want to do is a chocolate cake, but 2 hours before you run and stuff like that. Might be actually quite good, actually. That'll fuel you up. But maybe, look, you've added a new aspect to the running, and now you're sort of falling in love with it again. It can get boring, man. It hitting that tarmac over and over and over again can get really boring.
And I gamify it a lot. This is a massive thing for me. I gamify everything. So Strava's my best friend. Everyone thinks I'm a proper Strava wanker, but I am 100%, and I love that I am. Well, yeah, like I always go for that. And I go segment sniping. So when I'm planning for myself, I don't even think of tempo runs anymore or intervals and things like that. I'm like, right, there's a segment I want to go and get the record for. Like, and I'll plan in as many as I can to go round, and I'll do light work between it, and then I'm like, right, full effort, go. Get the segment, then I'm like, okay, next one, like jog to the next one, and then I do that, and I'm like,
micro challenges. Micro challenges within a workout.
And then Joe Berryman, who's like one of the biggest listeners, so shout out Joe.
Shout out Joe.
I've actually put her onto your podcast as well.
Did you?
So she's going to start listening to yours.
Good.
And yeah, she's got me into trig hunting. So you know Jenks does risky trigs.
Yeah.
She sent me a map of every single trig point across the UK. So it's an overlay for your Google Maps, so you can change the colours when you've done it and everything.
Right, yeah.
And that's my new thing. I'm like, that's my hill sessions and my long runs. I'm like, how many trigs can I bag today?
Yeah.
And it's getting me to new places as well, because I'm not just like, I'm going to do the same route, the same 10k that I do every week. It's like, well, how can I plan this next route to get more trigs?
Yeah, I love that. Micro challenges, micro dollops of purpose that you can use to fuel you and push yourself further. Maybe that's what we'd be saying to your clients and stuff like that. If they feel that they're not progressing enough, gamify your sessions.
Yeah.
Gamify it.
Well, this is why I've introduced the app that I've got now. Mm-hmm. So I've put them all onto an app, because I was just Google Sheets before, and they'd just look at before, be like, right, so my rep range is like, I'm doing squats for 3 sets of 5 to 8 at this weight, at like this percentage of my 1 rep max. And it's like, right, if I hit the 3 sets of 5, that's fine. If I hit 3 sets of 8, then I know that I need to go up 5%. Mm-hmm. And then they aim for the 3 sets of 5. So they're looking at like the little jumps and the progression. But then it's like that you don't get that same boost from like gamifying, because you're just looking at it and being like, oh, this is numbers. Yeah. Whereas on an app, it's like, oh, you've hit a personal best today. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, I get a badge for that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one reason why I've gone towards the app. And it's like easier, because it's not, they will put like, oh, I did the heavier weight today, but then it's like they get something that will give them some dopamine rather than just a spreadsheet.
Yeah, achievement. That's exactly why Rokman exists as well, by the way. Is it, with the Rokman platform, we give them 4 challenges across the month, which they can do whenever they want, but that it gives them something almost to train for each week, or something. I wouldn't say the words excitement, but definitely accountability and discipline to go out and hit your session. I've jumped on this series that we're doing at the moment. It's called Frogman. It's inspired by the Danish Special Forces fitness tests, and we had a session yesterday. It was a 3 rounds for time circuit, and I wasn't looking forward to it all day. Didn't even enjoy it after doing it, because I just felt wrecked. but it made me do it, because I knew I needed to do it, because there was something I had to tick off. So yeah, I love it. If you can gamify your training in any sort of way and put these little rewards in throughout the whole period, you're just going to increase your chance of consistency and success. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. Right, I think we'll start wrapping it up there then.
Yeah.
What I do want to finish with, and my last guest requested this.
Yeah.
To come back, and I think it's perfect for you as well, the weekly challenge.
A weekly challenge.
What are you going to set to the listeners for a challenge this week?
I think last time I set them at 1.5 miles for time, didn't I?
I think so.
Yeah. Right, okay. A weekly challenge. Now, this is funny because I do challenges every single week with Rokman, and I've got a mind blank. I can't think of anything. I'll tell you what, here's one. I'm trying to think of one from the Frog. Here's one. Right, so next week's Frogman Challenge series with Rokman, which you can still join now if you listen to it. It's a 5K for time. However, it's called the boat carry, and it's supposed to simulate when these Danish special forces have to carry a boat on their shoulders. So you've got to not only do a 5K for time, but you've got to do it carrying a 10K weight on your shoulder. How about that?
That sounds perfect.
That's different, isn't it?
What I did want to bring up as well is Rokman is free, like, to do the challenges now, isn't it?
It was.
It was.
And I'll tell you why it's not.
Okay.
Because no one sticks to anything if it's free. So it was open for free. You could get the challenges, but you wouldn't get all of the benefits of being part of the series. In the time that it was open for free, not one person completed a series.
Oh, really?
Not one person, because it's free. The success rate of if you pay, and it's not a lot of money, I think the basic rate of pay at the moment is $9.99 a month, which is nothing really, you know.
And you get a pip and everything.
You get a pip, and you get access to leaderboards. You get your own personal challenge dashboard where you can track your submissions, your achievements, and there's the supportive community, and you get free access to training plans. There's a lot that comes with it, all for $10.99. And 4 challenges, epic novel challenges. So the success rate of people paying is like 90%. 90% of people who pay will finish a series. People who get it free, 0. So we scrapped free. We were like, there's no point. I think all we ask is a little sort of monetary investment. And yes, it helps pay for the platform and helps with the running, but it's for you more than anything, because when you've put money down, you're like, well, I bloody paid for this, I'm going to finish it. So if anything, it's also a motivator because you've got some skin in the game now.
Yeah.
You've put some money down. So we're not. I ain't no sort of capitalist fat. What's it called? Fat pig. What's it called? Big wig. Fat pig. Fat cat, that's the one. Yeah. Maybe a fat pig, but we're not trying to make buckets loads of money here. We just want enough to pay for the platform. So you are getting a wicked deal. Get involved, try it, and just know that when you pay, it's going to increase your chances of success.
Yeah, amazing. It's such a good platform as well. Like, if I didn't have so many of my own challenges and training going on, I probably would be doing them. You
need to try one, man. You need to try it, definitely. It's just 1 month. It's four challenges across a month. That's it. That's all you need to do. And they fit in and around what you're trying to do now anyway. You're out there doing mad runs anyway. You can easily sling one in.
Yeah.
We'll get you set up. But can I talk about my next charity campaign?
Yes, of course.
So this November, obviously last November I set the world's biggest GPS drawing of a manhood for charity. Well, this November we're coming back, and it's more of a campaign to get. I've got an aim of I want to flood Strava with dick pics. I want to get as many people out there. So I'm talking to you down the camera. I want to get you guys out there drawing your own penises. Now, you don't have to do 72 miles. It could just be a mile. It could be as short or as big as you want. Size doesn't matter, my wife says. So, but the idea is to raise, obviously, awareness and money for men's health with Movember. So if you want to get involved with that, sling me a DM and I'll add you to a mailing list, and I will send out instructions as we get to it. It'll be throughout the whole course of November, where people can just go out. They have to do it once, and there'll also be a sort of paid option as well. So it's a free challenge, but there's a paid option where if you do it and you submit it, you will get a dick finisher's pip, which you can attach to your t-shirt or your training bag or whatever. And also, at the end of it, we're going to get the collection of all the penises that we managed to get on Strava, and I'm going to judge for the prettiest penis, the prettiest and best penis. And that doesn't matter on size or anything like that. I'm going to be looking at them, and I'll pick the biggest one, and we'll have some sort of prize hamper for the person who does that as well. So get involved. DM me on Instagram, Terry Rosoman, and we'll get that sorted out.
Amazing. That is class. And I do want to throw it out there to any of you savages that are listening. Go for the world record.
Go for it. It's currently at 115 miles. And do you know what's good about this is because I've got a website and a web page where I put it all. If you still Google world's biggest penis, I'm the only person that comes up. So in the eyes of the world, it's still on me. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, 115 miles is now the record. If you want to beat that, good on you. There we are, Will. There's one of your 12 trials or whatever, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Oh, I think I'd have done enough running this year by then. I think I'll be done with running for a while.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah. Right. Thank you so much for coming on. Sorry about all the tech issues at the start.
No worries. No, thank you for having me on, Will. And hopefully, I know these guys are going to appreciate that you brought this back because it was one of my favourite podcasts that I listened to. And it's a pleasure to be invited back again. I'd love to come back again after I've done some more challenges and stuff. I've got some, more stories to tell or something. But I'd love to come back. And well done.
Always welcome on, mate.
Thank you very much.
Now, before you go, I did just want to highlight, I know he did it a few times in the podcast, but head over to Rokman, sign up to their challenges. They are these amazing challenges and they give you some purpose, a bit of structure to your training, and it just pushes you outside of your comfort zone, which is what we're all about here at Adventure Athletes. So if you want to check them out, head over to rokman.com and sign up to one of their challenges. Until next time, guys.